Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Prince Ali and the Genie, and we're back in my Agrabah Palace Dungeon toy box, which is based on alpha footage of the Disney Infinity 4.0 Kingdoms project. Today I'm going to build the Wampa Cell. And this isn't exactly a trap, and you won't see this in the 4.0 alpha video. I'm just opening a door and letting loose a powerful enemy that will distract the guards. But it's a fun idea that I came up with, and it's another way to dispatch enemies without fighting them directly. So to build this, we'll come into the Toy Box Editor, and in the Gameplay Toys drawer, we need this automatic double door. And I'm going to place this right over here in the opening, like this. And I've got it so that the bounding box is underneath the overhang there, and the doors will open inward. So we'll place that right there. And I've already taken the liberty of dropping the button we need up here. This is the button that will open the door. So we'll do a new logic connection on the button. When pressed, come over to the double doors and open. And that's basically it for the trap itself. There's not much to it. All the button does is open the door. But now we need some enemies, and we need to pit them against each other. So we'll go ahead and set that up. And again, to save a little time, I've already taken the liberty of dropping down a bunch of locators in this area for the enemies. So we've got one there, and a couple of them over here, and a couple of them over there. One by the spikes. And I'll swing around so you can see the placement of these locators. And the placement's not exactly important. I just want to spread them around a little bit. I've also put down an enemy wave generator here, and one over here, and another one over there. And there's a locator, by the way, inside the pit, right there. And so we'll come to this first one, and I'm going to connect up that locator inside the pit. And this enemy wave generator will be for the Wampa. And so we'll go ahead and configure the wave. And you can use the Wampa, you can use any of the powerful enemies. These two guys, or three guys, I haven't unlocked the other one yet because he's really difficult, but there's three of these really nasty ones from the Force Awakens playset that are probably be good as well. But I kind of like the Wampa, he's just a wild beast. And under the properties, I'm going to leave both of those off, take the generation delay to 0, and we'll disable the generation effects. There's no need for those. You're never going to see them. And whoops, one more thing. We need to set the team because we want these enemies to battle each other. So I'm going to set the team for the Wampa to be the blue team. Alright, so that enemy wave generator is ready to go. For this one, I'm going to connect this one up to all of the locators that are out in this area. So new locator connection over to this one. I probably should have hooked up some of these locators ahead of time, but I forgot, so I apologize for that. And that one. And those four should be enough. And actually, I don't need this one. I've got four of them over there, so this one is not needed. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and configure the wave for this guy. And we're going to need some Agrabah Palace guards. I'll have to scroll down just a little bit to get to them. There we are. And you could just set the count. I'm going to go ahead and just put 4 of these guys in here directly. It doesn't really matter. Just in my play testing, it does seem to work a little bit smoother if these are all separate. In this particular instance, if I set the count, then sometimes they tend to get stuck a little more frequently. And there may not be anything to that. It might just be coincidence that I've happened to notice that. But it makes me feel better. Under the properties, again, all of those are off. Generation delay to 0. I'm going to leave the disable flag off this time. And the team, we need to put these on a different team. So I'm going to put these enemies on the orange team. So the guards will be on the orange team. The Wampa will be on the blue team. And this enemy wave generator will connect up to the other 4 locators. So this one behind the spikes. This one over here in front of the spikes. And this one over here. And one more over by the mashers. And this enemy wave generator will be configured pretty much the exact same way that the other one was. So again, we're going to have 4 Agrabah guards. And normally 5 is a good number for a single enemy wave generator, at least on my Wii U. But with all of the castle bricks here, and all of the building pieces I've got in here, putting 5 in on each of these guard generators, plus the Wampa, plus my sidekick, adds quite a bit of lag. Well, not quite a bit, but enough to make it noticeable. And so that's why I'm only doing 4. I think 8 guards over here is sufficient. So there we go. That one's configured. So we've got 2 generators for the guards, and 8 guards total, and the Wampa. Now to kick off the enemy generation, I really don't want to put these enemies in here until the player enters this area. And there's 2 ways to get into this area. And so I've set up a trigger area in each location. There's this one just before you come into the archway over here, through this end of the room. And then over on this side, I've got another one set up under the archway on this end of the room. And both of these need to be hooked up to do all of this work. And so we'll go ahead and connect this one up first. So new logic connection when entered by player, any. We're going to come over to each of the enemy wave generators and generate the wave. New logic connection when entered by player, any. We'll come over to the second one and generate the wave, and then the same for the Wampa. There we go. And then this one needs to do the same thing. I know it's not too exciting watching me make all of these logic connections, and maybe I could have set some of this up ahead of time or done it offline, but some of my viewers are new toy box builders, so it's helpful for them to see all of these steps. And those of you who are more experienced builders can just fast forward a little bit if you want. Come over to this one. And one more. Okay, so there we go. Now, I only want to do this one time, and so if the player comes in here and defeats all of these enemies, and then they go to leave, I don't want them running through these trigger areas again and having the enemies all respawn. And so what we'll do is we'll come over to one of them, and we could do the Wampa, we could do, let's do this one over here. We'll do a new logic connection on this enemy wave generator. When the wave is generated, we'll come over to the trigger area and deactivate it. And we'll do the same thing for the other one. So new logic connection when the wave is generated. Come over to this trigger area and deactivate it. And we only need to do that for one of the wave generators. because once the trigger area is deactivated, it's deactivated. So that will prevent the enemies from being generated multiple times. And now I'm probably going to have to test this a few times during the development. So let's go over to our reset button, which is out over near the first area that we set up. And this is our reset button. And I'm going to hook this up. New logic connection when pressed. And I want to come over and reactivate these trigger areas, because I need a way to do that if I'm going to test these multiple times. Because otherwise, once they're deactivated, there's no way to reactivate them. And again, that reset button will be taken out of the way when we're all done. And we should probably also, new logic connection when pressed, defeat all of those enemies and remove them. That way, if something goes wrong, I don't have to battle all of those enemies to take them back out of the toy box. That can be handy. New logic connection when pressed. Alright, there's the other one. We'll defeat that wave. Kind of going around the perimeter of the toy box here. Hopefully that's a little bit faster than running through all of those buildings. It's not selecting everything that way. And we'll defeat that wave. And there we go. So now we have the enemies coming into the toy box. When we come through one of these trigger areas, we got the button up here that'll open the door. And oh, that's another thing that reset button should do, is close that door again. That's why I find it's always good to review before we run through and test. And I kind of rehearse it in my mind, because then I'll sometimes find something that I've forgotten. So we want to make sure we close that door again. And that puts everything back in its original state. So let's go ahead and test this out. So we'll come out of the toy box over here. And I've already got my invisibility device, and here comes Jeannie to catch up with me. Okay, and I'm going to make a run for those stairs, because as soon as I enter that trigger area, the enemies will spawn. And I don't want them to catch me. Okay, so we've got the Wampa in the Wampa pit. He's down by that door, trying to get out. We got the enemies out there. And there's a bunch of them over there, too. And let's go ahead and go invisible, so they'll roam around a little bit. Oh, and they're detecting Genie, so we'll pick him up. And that snapped them out of it. So now they're moving around. Let's go ahead and let the Wampa loose. Again, he's facing the wrong way. Hey, dude. He was facing the right way a moment ago. Look at him scratching his head. Oh, they've seen him. This never gets old. I love this. We took out two guys with one swipe. Oh, I have too much fun with this. I love it. It's great fun, let me tell you. It's a very simple trap, but it is just a lot of fun to let something like that loose on these unsuspecting guards and just watch him take them out for you. I love it. Oh, that was a weird little glitch. He's toast. Oh, nice. Ah, come on, Jimmy. Oh my goodness, he was a tough one to beat. That's why you let the guards take him first. Let them whittle him down a little bit. Oh, I get all my sparks. Okay. Well, this video is going on a little bit longer, but I think I'm going to do a couple more things. Let's finish up this area while we're right here. And so one of the things we want to do is we need to be able to get up to, up to that rope. And so to get there, we got 2 sidekick doors that I've already put down, and each of these will activate a replayer, which I've also put down. And again, as before, I've only placed these toys. I haven't configured them. But for each of these, I want to set the playback interval to 0. And this one, same thing. And then for each of the sidekick doors, come under the properties, and I do not want to remove Genie on entry, so we'll turn that off. And this should be on, but again, I may have to test this a few times before I'm all done, so I'm going to leave this off temporarily. Detection level of 1, normal response chance 10, explosive chance 0. And we'll set up the other one the exact same way. And again, that should be on, but I'm going to leave it off for right now. Okay. Now this replayer down here, we'll go ahead and step on that, start recording, and open up the editor. This one should put down the mattress, and this is the toy that will allow us to get up to the ledge above. So we'll place that down and come back out of the editor, and I can step back on the replayer to open that menu in the lower right corner, stop recording, and clear. And again, be careful to only clear once. And this door, a new logic connection, when normal response is returned, we come over to the replayer and we do a playback. Okay, and then on this replayer, same thing. We're going to start recording, step back off, but this one is going to put down some clouds that we can hop across to get from this tower over to that rope. And so I'm going to come off the corner of this about like that, and about like that. And let's see, since we're rounding the corner there, and put those a little bit closer together. That'll work. And then we'll step back on the replayer, stop recording, and clear. And again, one more logic connection on the townsperson door. When the normal response is returned, come over to the replayer and do a playback. And so when you throw Genie into this one, After we've dispatched all of the enemies down there, we can toss him into that door. And that puts out the mattress. And then we can use that to get up here. Come on, Genie. And we'll toss him into that one. That'll activate the other replayer, which will put the clouds out there for us. And so now if we come back down and run around across the bridge, and up the ladder, now we can hop across the clouds to get to the rope. And there we go. And that gets us up here, and a couple more videos will add the button up here that lowers those platforms that we need over there. So that's it for this chamber, and the only other thing we need then in order to reset, we'll have to do this manually, because again I don't want to hook a button up to clear these replayers if they've never been played. So I don't want to use the reset button to do that, so we need to clear these manually. And that, again, keeps them from being corrupted. And we'll step on this one and clear. And that should remove the clouds. So that's all of the traps I've built for the Palace Dungeon. Next time, I'm going to revisit the Agrabah City toy box and Jafar's Tower in this toy box, and I'll show you how to use the satellite receiver so that when we collect the scarab in this toy box, it will unlock the entrance to the desert in the other toy box. I know many of you have been eagerly waiting for the satellite receiver tutorial, so if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet or signed up to follow me on my blog, be sure to do that so you don't miss the next episode, which will air this coming Monday. And a quick reminder before I go, if you want to build this toy box on your own console or PC, be sure to visit my blog where you'll find floor plans and logic diagrams to help you out. That's it for me today. Take care.